On the day of my 29th birthday, I lost my family. It was also the day I saved our company. The moment I signed that executive order with trembling hands changed everything, especially the look my sister Brooke gave me. Since I was a kid, I was taught that business and family don't mix, but no one prepared me for what would happen when these two worlds collided. Brooke was always the star of the Parker family, the darling of our parents, while I spent hours in the office learning every little detail of our boutique hotel chain, while she shined on social media with posed pictures in our presidential suites. I was burning the midnight oil with financial spreadsheets. The contrast between us was stark. I lived for the business, and she lived off it. But that October night, everything changed. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. During a routine meeting with Connor, our new financial consultant, I noticed something odd in the spreadsheets. Numbers that didn't add up, inexplicable expenses, suspicious transfers. At first I thought it was just an accounting error, but the more we looked into it, the more evidence we found. "Rachel, you gotta see this!" Connor called me into his office on a rainy afternoon. On the computer screen were hundreds of receipts for personal expenses. Designer handbags, international trips, lavish parties, all in the company's name, all approved by our parents, all meant for Brooke. My stomach dropped when I saw the amounts. Millions had been siphoned off over the years to support my sister's lifestyle. And the worst part wasn't just the spending, but her social media posts bragging about every purchase as if they were the results of her hard work as a digital influencer. Connor and I spent weeks documenting every irregularity. Some nights, we stayed late in the office, connecting the dots and uncovering a pattern of behavior that went way beyond family favoritism. It was a full-blown bleeding of the company's resources. "Your parents need to know about this," Connor kept insisting, but I knew it wouldn't be that simple. Every new document we found showed they weren't just turning a blind eye. They were enabling it. Their signatures were on everything, approving every ridiculous expense for Brooke, while our employees barely got raises. With every discovery, the weight of responsibility grew heavier on my shoulders. It wasn't just about the money. It was about integrity, fairness, and the future of hundreds of employees who depended on the company's financial health. It was on a Wednesday that my world really fell apart. My mother called asking me to come to an urgent family meeting. "It's about the house," she said, using that tone she always had when she wanted to convince me of something. I arrived at my parents' mansion expecting yet another one of those typical business disputes. I found Brooke sitting on the velvet sofa, scrolling on her phone like it was just another routine meeting. My father was standing by the fireplace, holding some papers. "Sweetie, we need to discuss something important," my mother began, sitting next to Brooke. "Your sister is ramping up her social media presence and needs a better space to create content. We thought your house would be perfect for her." I was stunned. The house I bought with my own money, after years of hard work and saving, the place I renovated with so much care, my retreat after long days at the office. "You work so hard," my father continued. "That space barely gets used. Brooke needs a more sophisticated environment for her recordings. It's for the good of the company, honey. Her social media reach is key to our image." Brooke finally looked up from her phone. "It's going to be awesome, Rach. I've got thousands of ideas for the closet upstairs. Can I move in this weekend?" I felt my blood boil. Years of favoritism, years of inequality, and now they wanted my house? The place I earned with my own effort? "I've already drawn up the transfer documents," my father said as he stepped closer with the papers. "It's just a formality. You understand it's for the greater good, right?" In that moment, something inside me snapped. It wasn't just about the house. It was about the whole crooked system we'd built. While I was busting my ass building something solid, they were treating the company like a personal bank to fund Brooke's whims. I left the mansion without saying a word, ignoring my mom's calls. In the car, the tears finally came, but along with them came the realization. It was time to act. Over the next week, I locked myself in the office with Connor to develop a meticulous plan. As the majority shareholder, I had the power to make significant changes. but I needed to be strategic. Every move had to be calculated. Every document had to be spotless. "We need to do this during your birthday party," Connor suggested, spreading documents across my desk. "Everyone will be there, including the board. It's the perfect time to expose everything." We organized every detail, the financial reports, bank statements, receipts, all digitized and laid out in a presentation that would leave no doubt. Connor even prepared a detailed analysis of how Brooks' spending was hurting the company's cash flow. "You sure about this?" he asked, watching me review the documents for what felt like the 100th time. "Your family isn't going to forgive you easily." I looked at the photo on my desk, taken at the opening of our first hotel. We were all smiles back then, one united family building a dream. But that dream had turned into a nightmare of perks and abuses. I spent hours rehearsing my speech, anticipating every possible reaction. I knew my mom would try to pull on my heartstrings, my dad would lean on his patriarchal authority, and Brooke would probably break down in tears. I had to be prepared for everything. On the eve of the party, I did one last review of the company bylaws. As CEO and majority shareholder, I had the legal backing to implement the necessary changes. I set up a series of documents: new corporate governance policies, spending guidelines, codes of conduct. "Tomorrow, everything changes," I told Connor as we finished the final touches. He held my hand for a moment, a silent gesture of support that meant more than any words ever could. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the ceiling, mentally going over every step of the plan. It wasn't just about exposing the irregularities. It was about transforming our company into something we could all be proud of, something based on merit and professionalism, not family ties. The sun came up, and with it the certainty that there was no turning back. In a few hours, I would face the toughest moment of my life. The party was in full swing in the main hall of our most luxurious hotel. Soft music, champagne flowing, fake smiles, and shallow conversations. Brooke, as always, was the center of attention, posing for photos in her new dress, probably yet another company expense. I waited until all the important guests had arrived. The board, our top investors, managers from every unit. Connor gave the discreet signal we'd agreed on, confirming that the presentation was ready. "I'd like to make an announcement," my voice echoed through the microphone, causing the music to stop. All eyes turned to me. "As part of my birthday celebrations, I have some news about the future of Parker Hotels." My father smiled, probably thinking I would finally cave about the house. My mom moved closer to Brooke, their hands intertwined in a show of unity that was about to be shattered. "In the past few months, we've conducted a full financial audit," I continued, as the first spreadsheets appeared on the big screen. "And we've uncovered some irregularities that need to be addressed immediately." My dad's smile faltered. I saw Brooke tighten her mom's arm. "In the past 3 years, over $5 million were diverted from the company for personal expenses." The numbers flashed in sequence on the screen. Trips, clothes, parties, gifts, all recorded as marketing expenses or client relations. The silence was deafening. I kept going, slide after slide, exposing every irregularity, every abuse. Brooke's social media photos appeared side by side with the company expense receipts. "Rachel, this is ridiculous!" My dad tried to interrupt, his voice shaking with anger. "You're shaming our family." "No, Dad. You shamed everything we built when you turned our company into a personal piggy bank for Brooke." My sister started to cry, but this time her tears wouldn't change anything. "How can you do this to me? I'm your sister." "Exactly because you're my sister, this has to stop. You need to grow up, Brooke. All of us do." I grabbed the folder Connor had handed me. "As the majority shareholder and CEO, I'm implementing new corporate governance policies effective immediately. All expenses will need board approval. There will be no more special privileges or disguised personal spending." "You can't do that," my mom shouted. "I can, and I am. And one more thing." I took a deep breath. "The house is mine. It's not for sale or transfer, ever." The chaos that followed was overwhelming. Shouts, accusations, tears. Some guests started leaving quietly. while others watched the family drama unfold in shock. Connor came up, ready to present more documents if needed. But it wasn't necessary. The damage was done. The truth was out. This company isn't a playground, I concluded. It's the work and dream of hundreds of employees who depend on us to do what's right. From today on, we're a professional company, not a family drama. I left the stage amid stunned stares, the sound of Brooks sobbing and the guests' whispers ringing in my ears. The transformation had begun, and there was no going back. In the weeks following the party, my office turned into an investigation hub. Connor and I presented every document, every piece of evidence, every misused dollar to the board. The proof was undeniable. Here are the records from all the international trips, I pointed out during a tense board meeting. Brooke was using our private jets as her personal taxi, always justifying it as technical visits to our properties. The evidence piled up: restaurant receipts with astronomical amounts, luxury boutique purchases recorded as uniforms, private parties disguised as corporate events. Every document revealed another level of financial abuse. This one is particularly interesting. Connor projected a set of invoices. Brooks' birthday party in Ibiza cost $500,000 in total, listed as an international marketing workshop. The board members examined the documents in silence, their faces shifting between shock and indignation. I also presented emails exchanged between my parents and the finance department, proving their knowledge and approval of these expenses. It's not just the amounts, I continued, but the impact on employee morale. While we were denying raises for cost containment, millions were being spent on personal whims. I showed Brooks' social media posts, pictures on yachts, fancy parties, walk-in closets full of designer items, all paid with company money. Next to that, I displayed the paychecks of our most dedicated employees who barely got any raises. This report shows the direct impact on our results. Connor presented detailed graphs. Had these resources been properly invested, we could have opened 3 new units in the past 2 years. One of the senior board members cleared his throat. "Miss Parker, this is more serious than we thought. What are your recommendations?" I opened a new folder. I've prepared a detailed restructuring plan. First, all corporate cards will be canceled and reissued with strict limits. Second, we will implement a 3-tier approval system for any expense over $1,000. The next few hours were spent outlining every aspect of the new financial control system: reimbursement policies, auditing procedures, guidelines for the use of company resources. Everything was meticulously documented. Finally, I concluded, I propose setting up an independent ethics committee to oversee all transactions involving family members. The board unanimously voted for the changes. As they signed the documents, I felt a mix of sadness and relief. Every signature was another brick in the wall, now standing between me and my family. "You did the right thing," Connor whispered, gathering the documents after the meeting. "It wasn't sustainable going on like that." I looked out the office window, watching the sunset over the city. Somewhere my family was probably cursing me, but for the first time in years, I felt I was truly honoring the legacy my father started, even if he couldn't see it now. Implementing the new policies felt like navigating stormy seas. Every day brought a new challenge, a new resistance to overcome. My desk was piled high with audit reports, and every decision had to be documented to the smallest detail. "The changes in the finance department are almost done," I reported during a meeting with the executive team. "All processes now go through double checks, and we've implemented real-time monitoring software." The transformation was evident in every sector. The marketing department, once a free-for-all for Brooks' whims, now operated with clear goals and defined metrics. The company's social media started showcasing our hotels and employees, no longer just a stage for a socialite's adventures. "The numbers for the first quarter are already showing improvement." Connor presented the preliminary results. Cutting out the extra spending allowed us to invest in training and infrastructure. My parents tried to intervene a few times, using their connections on the board to question the changes. But the numbers didn't lie. The company was healthier, more professional. "We've installed the new management system in all our units," I explained to the board. Every manager now has real-time access to performance indicators, and decisions are based on data, not personal preferences. The weekly management meetings, once a stage for family drama, turned into productive discussions about strategy and growth. Employees who had been too scared to express their ideas began to participate actively. The talent development program has already identified 20 employees with leadership potential. I proudly presented. People who've been here for years but never had the chance to grow. One of the most significant changes was in the promotion process. We set up clear criteria based on performance and competence. The nepotism that once dominated decisions gave way to a fair evaluation system. We need to talk about expansion, I proposed during a strategic meeting. With the savings from our new management, we can resume those growth plans that were on hold. Every week, I saw the company transforming. The hallways that were once filled with gossip about our family scandals now buzzed with discussions about projects and innovations. Guest satisfaction is up 30%, Connor showed the graphs. When we invest in what really matters, the results speak for themselves. We set up a direct communication channel for employees where they could share suggestions and concerns without fear of retribution. Transparency became our hallmark. This is just the beginning, I asserted during a video conference with all the managers. Our goal is to be a benchmark in hotel management, not just another family business. The changes were deep and sometimes painful. Some long-time employees, used to the old system of favors, resisted and left. But for every person who left, we saw 3 new talents emerging. "You built something remarkable here," one of the board members commented after a results presentation. "You turned a problematic family business into a truly respectable professional organization." I looked out the window of my office, watching the hotel buzz with life. Smiling employees, satisfied guests, an operation running free of drama or favoritism. This was how things were always meant to be. The first few months after the changes were tense. Sunday lunches at my parents' house, once a sacred tradition, completely stopped. Messages in the family group went unanswered, and the hallways at the company filled with an awkward silence whenever we crossed paths. Brooke was the one who resisted the new reality the most. Her social media posts swung between angry indirect messages and emotional pleas for family unity. When her corporate card was cancelled, she came to my office in tears. "How am I supposed to keep up my lifestyle?" she asked, her makeup smeared. "My followers expect luxury content. You're ruining my career." "You can build your own career, Brooke," I replied calmly. "We no longer have to pretend that your extravagance is some kind of marketing strategy." My mom tried to set up a family intervention, calling in uncles and cousins to convince me to back down. The dinner turned into a court session, where every family member had an opinion on how I was destroying the family harmony. "You all don't get it," I explained, exhausted. "I'm not destroying the family. I'm saving the company that supports all of us." The weeks dragged on. My dad, who used to be a constant presence in the office, now only showed up for mandatory board meetings. His silence weighed more than any words. During this period, Connor became my safe haven. "They'll understand eventually," he would say, supporting me through the toughest moments. Change takes time. Slowly, we started to see signs of adaptation. Surprisingly, Brooke was the first to show some change. After several weeks without access to company resources, she began exploring legitimate partnerships with other brands. "I need to learn about contracts and negotiations," she told me one day hesitantly. "Could you teach me?" My parents took even longer to accept it. Family meetings were still tense, but gradually, resentment began to give way to a reluctant curiosity about the positive changes in the company. "The numbers don't lie," my dad admitted during a board meeting while looking at quarterly results. Maybe you're right about some things." Adaptation among the employees was gradual too. Some, used to the old system of favors, resisted the new policies. Others, however, thrived under the meritocracy we just introduced. "For the first time, I feel truly valued here," a manager confessed during a performance review. Before, it seemed like only the family mattered. The most profound changes, though, happened in our personal relationships. Little by little, we were learning how to be a family without mixing it with business. It was a delicate process, like rebuilding a bridge while you're still walking on it. Maybe we can try that Sunday lunch again, my mom suggested after 3 months. Just family, no work talk. It was a start, a small step toward a new type of relationship, more mature and honest. This period of adjustment was teaching us that sometimes you need clear boundaries to protect what really matters. The most surprising transformation was Brooks. 6 months after the changes, she had completely reinvented herself. Instead of posts about luxury and show-offs, she began sharing her journey of learning about business. "You know, Rachel," she told me over breakfast, "I never realized how empty that life of appearances was. Now that I'm really working, I understand what you were trying to tell me." The company also blossomed under the new management model. Our occupancy rates hit record highs, and employee satisfaction had never been better. We opened 2 new units, this time with meticulous planning and responsible investments. "Your sister asked to join the trainee program," Connor informed me, sounding surprised. "She said she wants to start from the bottom and understand every aspect of the business." Seeing Brooke come into the office early, participate in meetings with detailed notes, and ask relevant questions was like meeting a completely different person. She channeled her energy and charisma into something productive. "I'm working on a genuine digital marketing project," she presented in one of the meetings. "No gimmicks, just showing the real experience of our hotels." My parents, seeing both Brooks' change and the growth of the company, began to show a newfound respect for my decisions. It wasn't the automatic approval of the past, but a sincere recognition of leadership. "You did what I never had the courage to do," my dad admitted during dinner. "You transformed our family business into a truly professional company." The transformation wasn't just in the numbers or policies, but in the company culture. We created an environment where merit was valued, where ideas were heard regardless of who pitched them. "It's amazing how much we've changed," Brooke commented during a board meeting, now holding a position she earned on her own. "We're not just a family trying to run a hotel. We're professionals building something meaningful." Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. Today, looking out the window of my office, I reflect on the journey of the past few months. The toughest decision of my life ended up being the most transformative for all of us. Our company is no longer just a family business. It's a respected professional organization in the market. Parker Hotels are known for excellent management, not for backstage dramas. Brooke found her true calling. Her latest presentation to the board on digital strategies showcased a mature and competent professional. Watching her grow fills me with pride, not just as the older sister, but as a leader who recognizes genuine talent. My parents finally understood that family love doesn't mean letting destructive behavior slide. Our Sunday lunches came back, but now with deeper, more meaningful conversations. We set healthy boundaries between family and business. Connor, who started as a financial consultant and became my partner in life and business, helped me see that sometimes you have to break the mold to build something better. That confrontation night at my birthday party seems so far away now. What looked like the end of our family turned into the beginning of something stronger and truer. I learned that leadership isn't just about making tough decisions, but having the courage to face the consequences of those decisions. Sometimes true love means saying no, setting boundaries, and letting people grow through their own challenges. Our story is proof that transformation is possible when we choose integrity over comfort, truth over appearances, and growth over stagnation. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this.